Hi, I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World, and I wanted to talk a second about a brother that everybody needs to know something about. His name was Kalief Browder, and Kalief was a young man out of New York who was at the age of 16 accused of stealing a backpack. As a result of being accused of stealing a backpack, not being proven to have stolen anything, he says he didn't do a thing, and it was never proven. He was never convicted, never put on trial. Kalief was sent to Rikers Island prison for 3 years. Rikers Island is an absolute nightmare. It is not a place that any human being should be forced to live. It is a place certainly where a child should not be. He was only 16 years old at the time. The authorities, because his mother or because his family cannot afford the $10,000 that they needed for bail, Kalief had to spend 3 years in Rikers Island, 3 years living and not, through some of the most unimaginable nightmares that one can think of, enough to create the kind of mental illness that we find constantly created in our criminal justice system. You don't see politicians doing anything about it because they're making too much money off of it. Also, they don't care much about black people. They commodify black people, especially black men. They want black men either dead or behind bars, and they don't care about what kind of nightmares these individuals have to go through during their time in prison. Prison should come with breaking the law, if somebody does break the law, should come with a necessary and appropriate punishment. It should not come with countless amounts of torture. Now, in the case of Kalief, Kalief did not commit that crime. He was never proven guilty in the court of law. He lost 3 years of his life. That means that by going to prison at the age of 16 for something he did not do, he could not go to prom. He did not get to go to high school graduation. He did not get to apply for college. He did not get to do any of those things at the age of 18 like he normally would have, because the system, because of a mere accusation, took him away to these concentration camps that we call prison facilities. In case you don't know, the United States incarcerates more of its citizens than any country in the world. We incarcerate more black men than South Africa did during the height of apartheid. The incarceration of African Americans in the United States is one of the great atrocities of all mankind. It is one of the great holocausts of the last 200 years. It's far greater than the Jewish Holocaust, because at least when the Nazis killed the Jews, they only did it for less than a decade. They've been killing our people with this prison system for the last 40 years, this false war on drugs, and all these other things that should leave you absolutely outraged. One of the, as I read this brother's story, one of the other points that I saw that was really interesting that the authorities need to follow up with is that he was actually beaten many, many times in prison, and probably there's a good chance he may have been raped as well. If people really care about stopping sexual assault, they'll stop prison rape, because most rapes happen in prison, and most rapes that happen in prison do not get justice. And there's video of a guard beating him while he's handcuffed for no reason at all. The guard then told the lie and said that he attacked the guard. And in case you don't know, this happens all the time. This happens all the time. We have so much false trust in police and prison guards, but yet we get to the point that we do not allow justice for those individuals who are victimized by these police and prison guards. That's one of the manifestations of the war on drugs, is that you've given police so much power, so much trust, so many weapons, so much benefit of the doubt, that there is no justice left for common citizens. This brother did nothing to this man, but yet he was beaten while he was handcuffed, and nothing happened to that guard. Now, at least not that I know of. Now, this guard, people need to look him up, and he needs to be incarcerated. He needs to go to prison for 20 years for what he did, because I guarantee you, if Kalief Browder had gone out and beat somebody up out of the blue as a black man, he would have got 15, 20 years in prison for that. Last thing I want to throw in here is we have to really think about what we're losing when we allow our most precious assets, our babies, our children, to be sucked into a system that forces them to grow up too fast, that puts them through unimaginable pain, that puts them through things that they never can recover from, because the trauma is so great on their brain that they can't move forward at that point. Kalief would have been somebody's husband. He would have been somebody's father. He would have been a part of somebody's community. But now there's some black woman out there who's going to be looking for her husband at the age of 30. She won't find him because Kalief Browder is dead now. Kalief eventually committed suicide. There are thousands, tens of thousands, if not millions, of other Kalief Browders out here in our society who get aborted every single day. When I saw that Kalief had committed suicide, it really broke my heart because I connected to him. I connected to him as a man who used to be a 16-year-old, and also I connected to him as because I had an older brother he was actually my uncle, but he was like an older brother to me, and he went to prison about the age of 16. And I don't know exactly what he went through at that time, but I do know that what he went through was horrific enough that I saw a transformation in who he was. The man who was one of my primary role models, the man I looked up to, the guy that I was waiting for to come home, the guy where I cried when he got sent to prison. He came home and he was only a shadow of who he used to be, and he never ever progressed. And for him, the death was just slow and painful. And up until the day where he did commit suicide by jumping in front of a moving car. He was run over by a truck. He was dragged 70 feet. After that, he had to get brain surgery and spinal cord surgery. He was paralyzed and in a nursing home for the last 3 years up until he died from a series of infections that occurred because he didn't have health insurance and nobody took care of him. And the thing is, my story is only one of hundreds of thousands of stories that have occurred as a result of this injustice, this racism, this mass incarceration epidemic that we have in the United States. It's why I have very little patience for this nonsense. It's why I have very little patience for politicians who don't do anything about this. I have very little patience for racist white people who think this is somehow what we deserve. I think that at the end of the day, you know what? If we got to do what we got to do to stop this stuff, then we need to do that. And I encourage you to not have any tolerance for ignorant individuals who somehow think that this is okay. It's not okay to take a 16-year-old baby who didn't do anything and put him in Rikers Island and let him get beaten and raped and tortured until he decides that he's going to just kill himself. You don't do that to human beings. That's worse than what you do to an animal. White people care more about their damn dogs than they care about what's happening to black men in prison. If they were doing this to dogs, torturing dogs the same way, they'd be outraged, they'd be protesting, they'd be fighting, they'd be changing the laws. But because they're doing it to black men who they consider to be worse than dogs, somehow it must be okay. And I'm sorry, I know it sounds rough for me to say it that way, but life is too short for me to get up here and tell you a lie. We need to change this system. It's torturing our families and our community, and I'm just sick of it. But that's all I want to say. I want to say rest in peace to Brother Browder. Maybe, maybe. Sorry, I gotta compose myself. Maybe things are better for him on the other side. I really, really hope that they are. And that's all I want to say. I gotta go. I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World. Please take care. God bless. I'm gone. Peace.